Alright everyone, thanks for tuning in again. This is our latest episode from Lauren B, live episode number 10. In today's show we're going to focus on engagement ring designs. More specifically, we're going to talk about the band of the engagement ring, which is actually a very important component of your style of the ring. It acts as the backdrop of your ring and sort of a portrait, if you will, for the center stone. Picking the style of the band really comes down to your preference, but it's really also related to the size and shape of the center stone and how the top portion of the ring looks. For instance, if you have a split band style, you might want to go for an elongated center stone. Or if you have an elongated center stone, you might want to go for a split band, or vice versa. On the other hand, if you have a smaller stone, you may, under 1 carat, you may not want to put it on a thicker band because it might get lost in there. So you kind of have to take everything into account and see which direction you want to go. And remember that you can always mix and match different aspects of our ring. So the band from one ring with the top of another, and can really make a beautiful custom ring. So today we're going to try to simplify things for you. We broke it down into the 5 most popular categories from our point of view. There are other types of bands out there, but lining up here, we're just going to show you an overview. This is a Pave ring with a halo. This is a multi-row, meaning 3 sides of diamonds on the band, so a nice 3-dimensional look. Split band, very obvious, it's when the band is split into 2. Plain band, no diamonds on it. And then finally, last but not least, a bezel set band, where diamonds are set within tiny bezels on the band. So let's get started today. I'm going to start with the Pave styles, which is our most popular. Pave is a technical term. It refers to how diamonds are set on a ring, meaning that it's smaller stones set in a line in a very tight formation to try to minimize the effect of metal and to maximize the appearance of diamonds. But there's different types of Pave, and there's different thicknesses. There's a lot of different options here. So about 90% of the rings we do showcase on our website and Instagram are a form of Pave, and we have come to master the technique of micro Pave, which is the thinnest style. We're going to start with micro Pave, which is our thinnest Pave style. These are the first 4 rings here on the tray. I'll talk about them in more detail in a second, but basically for us, this is under 2 millimeters. Now it can be 1.7, 1.8, even 1.9, but that would be categorized as being our thinnest Pave. This is a 2-carat oval diamond, which actually works really well with the thin Pave. It gives you a nice floating look on the hand. Let's bring in our hand model to try this one on, and you'll see this is as thin as it gets. Micro Pave, so it's, if you want the most delicate appearance possible, this is the kind of style that you would go for. And this is a non-halo style with a 2-carat oval diamond. It works well with any center diamond under 1 carat all the way up to 5 carats. So really the options are endless for what center stone you can pair with a thin micro Pave band. And we'll just, at the same time, we'll bring out another thin Pave ring just to show you how it looks in rose gold. This is a cushion cut ring, SOR 16221, and we'll just kind of put them side by side for you to see. And you see the effect is the same no matter what color metal you do. That's a 1.5 carat cushion cut center diamond. Just to give you an idea of price, for the cushion cut ring, it's going to be around here. And then for the oval diamond ring, it's going to be in this price range. So that's a good starting point right there for micro Pave. Let's try on 2 other rings. We're going to show you now with a halo, because remember, this is only refers to the band, so we can have anything you want on the top and it still can be considered micro Pave. This is a 2-tone yellow gold double-edged halo, 1.8 carat, and this one is a moissanite ring with also double-edged halo. So the tops on these rings are exactly the same style. Bands are almost the same, just a difference in metal color. So yellow and white. So we're kind of going through all the options. Let's just try on one here. We'll try on this one for now. This is model number SOR 16180. It's going to be around that price range. It's an eye color SI1 clarity center diamond. And you'll see the effect. We're going for the floating look here. So anytime you add now contrast with the halo, white versus yellow, and the thin band, and an elongated center stone, you're going to get that floating look that everybody's after. So that's kind of the big draw of the micro pave style, and the two-tone look is creating a lot of contrast and creating your attention straight on the center stone itself. Okay, next we're going to now move up to the next category, which would be medium pave. Again, I'm using our own terminology here. If you look it up in a dictionary, it's not going to tell you what medium pave is. But for our instances, we're going to call that anything between 2 and 2.5 millimeter size. Here's two good examples of it. Both are oval rings, one halo, one non-halo. And these are slightly thicker than the previous ones we showed you. And we'll do a side-by-side comparison once we run through all the options here. But let's try this one first. This is model number SOR 14173. That's a 1.5 carat center. That's with our pave wrap underneath. Now the first ring we showed you before was a micro pave one with the wrap underneath. This is a little bit thicker. Give you a little more substance on the hand, feel a little more substantial and sturdier. Also the diamonds are a little bigger, so you get a little more sparkle out of the band as well. And then I'm going to show you also this ring, which I really like as well. This is even a little bit thicker than that, still in the medium size. If you want to put it on your, maybe this side. You'll see, you can actually notice the difference more in this one because it's even thicker. Probably closer to 2.5 millimeters. And it's a 1.3 carat oval diamond center. Now when you go this thick on the band, you might not want to go with a center stone without a halo under 1 carat because it's going to get a little bit lost in there. But once again, you can do whatever you like, whatever you think is going to look good on you, and whatever your preference is. So this is, again, this is medium pave, 2 to 2.5 millimeters, both rings. This one's closer to 2.5, this is closer to the 2, so it gives you a good reference point. Still very popular amongst our clients, not as popular as the micro pave, but still a very strong option. Let's move along now. We're going to go up to the next level of pave, which is probably the thickest ones that we do. This is the first string here. This is SOR 16225. Now you'll notice here this is probably almost 3 millimeters. It's still pave. The diamonds are still set very flush into the band with tiny beads holding them. There's no basket under each stone, and it's very flat on the finger. This is a moissanite center stone, round. Let's try this one on. Very nice. It's still clean. I know the diamonds are bigger on the band here, but still getting the same very clean look. Minimize the metal showing. Since this is a moissanite ring, we're going to be in this price range, which for this kind of look and those large diamonds on the band is a really, you're getting a lot of value with the moissanite ring in this kind of setting here. This is a cathedral design also. We'll get into that in another time, but that's just how the band meets up to the edge of the stone instead of tucking underneath it. But we can do it either way. We can make it on top 4 stems as well. And just for a little bit of a variance, let's try this ring. This is a very interesting one. This one actually, the diamonds taper in size. This is also pave. This is very thick at the top and then it gets thinner at the bottom. It's a 3.5 carat princess cut diamond center. This is a unique style. This is going to be in that 30,000 and up price range. But again, if you want a bolder look, you will definitely get it with this kind of ring or the previous one that we showed you. But remember, balance is always the key. So if you're going with this kind of thick band would not look good with a 1 carat center diamond, whether it has a halo or not. This is 3.5 carats. So maybe if you want to do a moissanite in the center, it can bring down the price substantially, or you can play with some other factors of it. And we're going to, after we get through the next couple rings, we're going to do a side-by-side comparison of thin, medium, and thickest. So next up, I want to go into some little more detail about pave. So pave is, there's different techniques to it. So here I'm going to show you 2 rings that have fishtail pave. What does that mean? It's little tiny etching next to each stone that gives it a kind of glittery effect on the metal, like V-cut or cut down is another terminology they use for it. We do it a lot, customers love it. So just to give you a better angle now, we're going to lay them flat on the surface to show you the fishtail or V-cut pave that we call it. You'll see it, it's underneath each little pave stone. There's tiny little V's cut into the metal. It's a very special technique used by the diamond setter. It does take a little bit more time to accomplish, but you'll see it does give a nice effect to the ring. It makes it a little more stand out. And also when you move it around, which I'm not going to do right now, it does give a little bit more shine to the metal. So this is model number VNR 12340 over here. This is a very popular ring with our clients who like that fishtail look. And this is also our 4-carat radiant on the other side with a thinner, probably our thinnest possible micro pave band with the fishtail etching. Let's try on the radiant cut ring. Probably not going to notice the fishtail as much on this one because it's very subtle, but when you look at the profile you do notice it. And we continue that throughout the ring so you don't miss the effect anywhere. This one has our wrap underneath. Really nice ring. Gorgeous center stone. It's a 4-carat elongated radiant cut. G color VS1. That's going to be in the, both these rings are in the $30,000 and up price range. But once again, we can customize them. We've made them with moissanites. We've made them with smaller center stones, with sapphires, with morganites, anything you can think of. And then we'll try this one. Let's just put this on the same hand. This one here, the bottom ring, the cushion cut ring, it's more noticeable, the fishtail, because the band's a little bit thicker. There's more metal to work with there. But you can watch and you can kind of see for yourself. Really nice pave work. You won't find this anywhere else really. You can go up and down the Diamond District. You can go to all your local Kay's Jewelers, Jared's, whatever you want to go. You don't find this kind of detail and craftsmanship anywhere. This is what we do specialize in. So remember, fishtail pave, that's what we just showed you. Now we're going to show you another variation of pave, which is called bright cut. This I'm going to hold in my hand for you to see. It's a little more obvious because you see it from the top. This refers to a tiny wall of metal on each side of the pave stones. You'll see it, it's very distinct. Now don't confuse this with a channel setting. Channel setting looks very similar except it doesn't have tiny beads in between each stone. So this one, there's little tiny beads in there. So it's still pave, there's just a little thin wall of metal on each side. It gives you more of like a vintage look. Comparing this one to this one has mill grain on the side, which is a little beading down the side of the metal. This one doesn't. This will even have more of that vintage kind of retro style to it. This I would say is the least popular of all our paves, but we still do it from time to time. I still think it looks pretty. It'll probably come back in and out of style. We'll just try on one ring for now, which is the one with the mill grain. That's the moissanite cushion cut center. This has the double edge halo also. If you'll notice, just show you here, the halo is also done in bright cut, so you'll see a very distinct line that separates the top of the halo to the side edge halo. This one is around that $3,000 to $5,000 price range, if anyone is wondering at home. Okay, now we're just going to wrap up pave. We could probably spend the most time on this topic than any of the others because again it is the most popular right now and we do foresee it as being the most popular in the future. So first I just want to show you on my hand, I'm going to compare the different thicknesses. This is the thinnest, under 2 millimeters. Next up we're going to go to a medium pave, around 2.4 or thereabout. And then finally we're going to show our thickest. We can go thicker than that, but for our purposes today, we're going to consider that the thickest. And you'll see very clearly the different levels. There are sizes in between these, but this gives you a good idea of if you want something very thin, if you want something in the middle, or if you want to go with a bolder look, that's kind of what you want to do. And remember, you can mix and match all these different rings. So if you like the band on this one, or you want the top of that, you can do that. Or you can take the band of this and put the halo of that. Whatever you like, we'll make it for you. We probably have an example on the website as well. Let's get it on a lady's hand so we can I think all on the same hand if it's possible.
Okay.
2, and then 3. So from closest to the fingernail is the thinnest, and then going up in size to the thickest. Let's see it from the top. You'll notice obviously the larger diamonds in the band are going to sparkle a little more. These kind of thinner settings, it's more about the center stone, so kind of a little bit of a trade-off there, and we can make it happen for you. Okay, moving right along, we're going to get into the next topic, which is multi-row pave rings. So kind of forget about this half, we're going to focus on these 5 for now. Multi-row is probably one of the hottest trends that we're continuing for the past couple of years. It refers to diamonds set on all 3 sides of the ring. So I'm going to start with this one and just show you. Just move it slowly. This is actually a very delicate 3-row. And again, we're going to break it up into categories based on width. So this is our thinnest 3-row style that you can possibly have. This is model number VNR 16385. And you'll notice it's very, very delicate. It almost looks like 1 row at some points. Okay, so this is our most delicate 3-row ring. It's actually a brand new one we made, which has a 2-carat round diamond in the center. These rings are very delicate. They have to be worn with care. There's a lot of stones on the band. Very tiny beads holding each one. You don't see any metal whatsoever. But it gives you a really nice glittery effect. Some people think that if you get a 3-row ring, it's not going to be that dainty kind of appearance that you're after, but again, we can execute that with very fine workmanship, and it gives you a nice 3D effect on the hand. And just to show you another thinner 3-row band, I'm going to pull out this one. You can keep that one on as well. This has no halo. Different kind of style. This is like model number RS275 on the top and 3-row band on the bottom. Let's try this one on side by side. This is from our thinnest. Now this one is actually even a little bit less wide than this one, but still this is still categorized as being our thinnest kind of pave. And just something to note about these, they both have a very domed, rounded formation to the band, so very clean looking. There's no kind of distinction between each row. They all flow together really perfectly. And you'll see also, just, we're not talking about the top of the ring, but you'll notice the halo effect there, how it does. These are both almost same size center diamond, but adding that double edge halo top does give it even more of a wow factor to the ring. Okay, so now let's just show you another 3-row styles. Now these are a little bit thicker, but at the same time they're more squared off on the band. I'm going to show you a comparison right after. And this is first model number SOR 16096. This is a 2.3 carat radiant cut center. I'm just going to turn it around slowly. And you'll see that's the 3 rows of diamonds in the band and full detail throughout. So kind of, we don't want to see any metal on these kind of rings. That's our theme. And then we'll just try this one on. Very nice, still clean look. Now let me show you one other similar one. This is going to be model number SOR 14812. This has our signature wrap underneath, and it also has the 3 rows of diamonds on the band. Very popular style. Also look up RS-126 on our website. Let's put these side by side. The bands here should be quite similar in appearance. These are both in our like medium and more squared off, meaning you do see like the top row faces up and the other rows are kind of perpendicular to that, facing out, whereas the previous rings, which I'll show you a comparison of in just a moment, they're more rounded, so they kind of just flow together a little bit better. Okay, so now I just want to compare the two different 3-row rings. So I'm going to try them both on Catherine's hand, and you'll notice right away the differences in the thickness. So this was the first ring we showed, which is model number VNR 16385. You'll notice it's very rounded, almost barely see the other 2 rows of diamonds because it kind of just looks like one row. While the other one is very clearly distinct. You can see the top row, and then on either side you'll see the other rows to make up those 3 triple-sided look that you're after. Okay, and then just for fun, we'll just show you this last string. This is if you want something really thick and heavy of 3 rows. This is a very bolder look. Not quite as popular as the other ones, but also pretty beautiful in its own right. This has a larger row down the center, which we do sometimes, and then we put smaller accenting rows on the side. It's a 3-carat round diamond center. And we can do that without the bright cut. That one has bright cut, meaning you do see the edges of metal on each side of the diamonds here. Now this is a little bit of an older looking style, not as clean and delicate as the other ones, but we have made this ring a numerous amount of times with different center stones, because for someone who really wants that sparkle, those are large stones down the center row. Okay, so that kind of wraps up multi-row, which is probably our second most popular category. We're going to move right into split band styles, and I just have some different variations of them. Now, as with the other ones, there's different degrees. I'm not going to talk about the thickness of the band, and I'm going to talk more about now where the split meets and how wide or how narrow it is. So we'll start with these two. These are our most narrow split band styles. We'll just try one of them after. And you'll see more or less they both meet around the 3rd or 4th stone down the band. And in these kind of splits, I'm just going to flip it up to the top. When you're looking at them from the top, it's not as noticeable. It's like a peekaboo effect, meaning you have to tilt it a little to really see it, and it's very subtle. So someone who wants a little extra detail but does not want it to overtake the entire look of the ring, a narrow split band like this is a good option. So let me just try on this double halo ring. The other one is a yellow diamond one. This is a cushion cut double halo ring, model number VNR 13626. And split bands, they do tend to work better with bigger stones or more elongated stones, but that's not always the case. If you add a halo to the center, it works just as well, because you're adding a lot of surface area to the top and you're creating room to have that split occur.
You're comparing this?
Yeah, no, you can put it back. So that was our most narrow split. Now I'm going to show you something that's a little bit wider. I'll show you 2 at a time, so you can kind of see one with a halo, one without a halo. This is probably around halfway down, I would call these. Now, one thing I want you to note here is the differences in how the split meets. This is another detail to consider. So on this ring with the pear-shaped aquamarine, the split meets and turns into one band and one larger row of diamonds going down. You'll see that around halfway, and it continues as one band to the back of the ring. Now conversely, the other ring, same sort of split at the top, but it meets, it stays 2 rows throughout, and it stays 2 bands throughout. So that's kind of another variation to consider. Once again, it's a detail, but something that you always want to keep in mind if you're considering a split band is how the split meets and what goes on after that. Does it turn into one band? Does it turn into one row? Does it say 2 wires throughout? So let's just try on this aquamarine ring, which is actually really pretty. It's a nice gemstone, very popular style for color stones for our customers. This one's actually available on the website. You can buy it directly there. Price, I think it's around $3,500 or so. And then we will compare that to this ring, You can take that off actually because it's completely different.
I'm trying to
Yeah, try it on this end. Also a medium split. It's a princess cut, model number VNR 14632. And you'll see here, compared to the last rings we showed you, the split, you can actually see it from the top. It's noticeable. This is for sure a split band ring. There's no mistaking it. Whereas the other ones, it's there, but it's very subtle. It's very understated, and it's more of a detail than actually becoming the entire style of the ring itself. Okay, so last for the split bands, we showed you narrow, medium, and now we're going to show you the widest ones, meaning that the split stays throughout. It meets all the way towards the bottom, and these are two different variations on them. This is a peach orangey sapphire center, and you'll see it stays two bands throughout, so it's almost like two separate engaged rings. It only meets at the very bottom of the finger, so when you're wearing it you'll never see that. It's always going to look like it's split throughout. This one also is rather wide. It does meet towards the bottom, but it's a different kind of split where it's has a more inverted look to it, so it accentuates that style. So let's just try these on. That's an emerald cut 2-carat center diamond. Very detailed look. Also, you'll notice this one actually has diamonds on both sides of each band, so it's kind of like a double-sided pave split band, so a lot of detail on that ring. And then we have the other one, which we can try on at the same time, because if you want a wider split, these are going to be the kind of looks that you would go after. There's no mistaking if it's a split. It's not. It's narrow. This is the widest possible, and still very delicate bands, probably 1.7 millimeters each. Very nice pave work on each one of them. Now let's just compare all the different split bands. I'll just choose one from each category. So that's narrow. Let's try this one. Medium. And then we'll look at the widest one here. There's obviously a lot of different options between these. There's a million different ways to do it, but this kind of gives you the extremes of each one. So you notice here it meets around the third stone. Here the band meets around halfway, and then here it meets all the way at the bottom. So it really depends on the style you want, what shape your center stone is. If you have a more elongated center stone, a wider split would work better. The narrower split might work better for something a little more square or a smaller center stone. And the one in the middle, the medium one, really works better for a wide array of options. And also you can add different details to it, the halo on the top, the diamond detailing underneath. You don't need to try this one. Good. Alright, so that wraps up splits. Let's move on to the next tray of rings. This is not going to be the most exciting part. These are plain band rings, meaning no diamonds on them, solid bands. Now, this is probably the most classic style. This, again, we can break this down into different categories. Here, these are two very different style of rings. One has a halo, one has a 6-pronged round top solitaire. But again, the bands are exactly the same. They're both rounded, comfort fit. So if you like a very delicate look but don't want any diamonds on the band, this is probably what we would recommend. And as far as what the top of the ring looks like, that's totally up to you. What shape, style, this goes with any kind of diamond that you can think of, any gemstone. Let's try on this one first. This is model number SOR 16403. Razor thin 6-prong top, and a very delicate rounded comfort fit solid plain band. So you can see even with a plain band you can get that delicate look you're after, and the center stone becomes the main attraction. Now if you really want to jazz things up, you can take that one off. We can add a halo to it as I showed you right before, and we've done this plenty of times also. Creates a nice contrast. You get the very subtle look of the band, and then you get all that sparkle and wow from the center stone itself. That's a cushion cut 1.5 carat center. And that's our double edge halo top, so kind of mixing and matching different styles here. So we took a plain band, we added double edge halo top, we put a cushion in the center, and you end up with something very unique and very elegant at the same time. Now I'm just going to run through the next two ones. We don't need to try these on. This is just to show you kind of the difference in appearance. So this is a squared off band. Sorry. You'll see there's a clear, distinct line there. More geometric look. It actually looks nice with square center diamonds like this cushion cut center here. A little bit of an edgier look. It's all yellow gold. And then we also have a knife edge band. I don't have a stone in here right now. I'm just going to show you the setting. Knife edge means that there's a little line because the band is kind of split into two and it meets at one point. This is very popular with the 6-prong style. Maybe not with other shapes as much. And I'm just going to bring back one of the comfort fit ones because this will just kind of wrap up all the three solitaire, the most popular ones, on one finger, so you can see the difference. Again, this is the rounded comfort fit one, this is a knife edge band, and this is a squared off plain band. You can do any color gold you want, you can do any center stone you want, but for sure this is the most requested one, and then probably these two would fall in line behind it. Okay. And also, just because it's a plain band doesn't mean you cannot add some little extra details to it. You can try these on. This actually, we put a little split in the band, so we kind of took the split band from the previous rings we talked about. We took off diamonds from it. That's this ring. Or you can get even fancier and we can do a twisted band like this, braided, a different way you want to call it. So these are not the norm. The other ones I showed you right before this were actually, those are the more standard styles. This, if you want something a little fancier, both these rings are on our website, you can check them out. They look beautiful in any color metal, and if you want to add diamonds to it, we can make diamonds on the band as well, but this just shows you an example of a plain band that's not completely devoid of any style or unique look to it. Okay, and that pretty much wraps up plain band. And just moving on to the last style before we do the recap is going to be the Bezel Set Bands. One in rose gold. This one is a hot seller with moissanites. This is model number SOR 16292. And then I'm going to compare it here with white gold versions. Very similar ring. They both have the wrap underneath. This is more of a vintage style. Anytime you do bezels on the band, and also each stone has, I'm not sure if you can see with the camera, but has little mill graining around each stone. The little beading gives it that vintage kind of appeal, that retro style. And these are both hybrid rings, meaning that the top of the ring is modern, has that little wrap underneath of Pave diamonds that we're known for. That's kind of the big appeal to these two rings. And I'll get Catherine here to try this on. So pretty much same exact style range, just different center stones and different color metals. But you can see how much of a difference that does actually make. Both these are on the website, you can look them up, you can request pricing, we can custom make them as well. Okay, so now we're just going to recap everything and bring out the tray that we worked with from the beginning and show you everything in one shot. And now that you have a better understanding of all the different styles, we have the Pave, thinnest one, we have the multi-row, the split, the plain, and the bezel. And we'll just try these on because we didn't compare it within each category. Let's do maybe on the other hand we'll put a split band. And we'll get a lot of rings going on at one time. And then we'll just put a plain band in there. And if there's room for a bezel somewhere, there you go. So we got all the 5 categories on the hand at the same time that we went over today, so you can get a good visual of how they all look compared to each other. That's the pave, the 3-row, split, plain, and bezel. And they're probably in order of appearance is the order of popularity right now, but things do tend to change. So this being the most popular, and then coming down the line over here. And again, remember, we can custom make anything you like. So if you saw something on our website that had a split band that had no halo on it, we can add the halo for you. If you want it in rose gold or yellow gold or two-tone, we can do that as well. And any kind of center stone you want, diamond, moissanite, morganite, sapphire, anything you can name, we can make it for you. So just inquire on laurenb.com, look at our YouTube videos, check us out on Instagram, and continue to check our website for updates of new rings. And until next time, thanks everyone for tuning in.